I love being able to laugh at myself. I love being able to do something totally blind, like bump into an inanimate object and stop to apologize to it because you don't know it's not a person. Hey my treasures, it's Sirena and I am back with another video. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I'm recording outside today because it is absolutely beautiful out. So you guys will hear cars and birds and I don't know, people in the background. So I'm hoping my microphone is up to the task. And if it isn't, then I'll just refilm this inside on my usual couch. It is so amazing to be back here on YouTube. Life's been crazy. There's been just a lot going on, some of which I will address in future videos. But for now, because I'm in a bit of a time crunch, I have one of my awesome friends coming over and we're gonna spend the weekend together and just hang. Gonna wait for that car to go past. Somebody needs to do something. I am going to be talking today about the 10 positives of blindness. Now, they're not only 10, but there are, you know, many positives of being blind. There's a lot of negatives, yes, but there are also a lot of positives. And I don't think a lot of people focus enough on the positive aspects. I think a lot of us, you know, me included, tend to look a lot at the, wow, I can't talk today apparently. We tend to look at the challenges blindness presents us with, and we don't take enough time to just stop and take a look at what it can do for us. So this is what I'm going to be doing in this video. And I've got my trusty Chromebook here because I just listed everything down, emailed it to myself because I wasn't gonna remember, and again, time crunch. So let's get started. 1. Shh. Guide dogs. I will get into an entire series about guide dogs, but I have had a guide dog in the past and it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. So the fact that we can't see allows us to get guide dogs and allows us to put our trust in another living being. Having a guide dog is like having a soulmate in a very non-romantic sense, of course. When you have to put your faith and your trust in a canine's paws, and that dog is your eyes at your side 24/7, it creates a bond like no other. Again, I'm not going to go into all of that now because I have other plans for such videos, but having a guide dog is one of the most incredible positives about being blind, being able to get one. Not everybody wants one, and that's understandable. Not everyone's lifestyle can benefit from one, but for those of us whose lifestyles can benefit from a guide dog and who want that responsibility and want to take it on, it's one of the most incredible positives about being blind and having this limitation. You get to share your life with a canine companion who just loves you like no other. It's humbling, it's incredible, it's fascinating. I love it, and it is absolutely a positive. 2. Fast track passes at amusement parks. I recently went to Busch Gardens with my daughter's father and my daughter, and I got a fast track pass for the rides there at Busch Gardens. Now, it's a little different because over there you have to go on through the exit, and usually they'll give you a time to come back, so you really end up waiting anyway. But there are quick queue lines, but you get to go on through the exit line, and if they have space, or you know, I don't know how they determine it, but you can get on really fast. So in other amusement parks, I know you can just get this pass and it's free because free is awesome. You know, we're blind, so you know, they give us free stuff. I wish that was the case in like Walmart and Target, but alas. At the amusement parks, it is the case, for the passes anyway. In some amusement parks, I know because I have spoken to some of my blind friends, you can go on through the exit and just get on right away. You don't always have to come back for a different time, or, I mean, I'm sorry, you don't always have to come back at a later time. For example, we would go on to a certain ride and it could be 4 and they'd be like, okay, come back at 4:45. So you still have to wait 45 minutes, but it does give you the opportunity to go do something else and then come back later, staying in the vicinity naturally if you don't want to go zigzagging all over the park. So that can be a little tedious, but the fact that you just don't have to always wait in a line at an amusement park, it's pretty awesome. And you only get that when you can't see, or if you have a disability. I don't know why, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. 3, the ability to look past the physical. I touched upon this in my VIP tag, and I'm not going to elaborate on it here because this entire concept should be its own video, but I know I touched upon it. I will link that video below if anyone's interested in checking it out. But as a blind individual, I can't make snap judgments about people based on what they look like. I can't look at somebody walking toward me or somebody that says hello and see that her hair is frizzy, or that she's got a pimple on her nose, or that her clothes are a little last season, or a little threadbare, or a little torn, or I can't make those snap judgments. I can't say, oh, she's overweight, or she's too thin, I don't want to talk to her. I have to look past all that superficial stuff to the person that is beneath. And I think that is one of the most incredible positives about being blind. Obviously all of these are positives, but guide dogs and this sort of thing, it's deeper. It's less superficial in and of itself. Ride passes are fun, and I'm gonna put it there because it is a positive about being blind. But these things make blindness humbling, because while there is so much that is difficult, there is still so much that is beautiful. And some of my best friends have been made because I can't make those snap judgments. A lot of people do to them because of one thing or another, but I can't. And I am so grateful that I can't do that, because I have made some incredible friends. You miss out on so many amazing people when you look at them and you judge them for what their outward appearance shows. I think this is something everybody should learn, not only if you can't see, it's just something everybody should do. We shouldn't be judging people based on what their exterior is showing us. It's just sight. It's just a shell. What really matters is inside, not outside. 4, the tight-knit community. Not everybody in the blind community knows each other. I mean, that's insane. That would be like saying, oh, you live in Texas, my cousin lives in Texas. Are you best friends? No, guys, Texas is a huge state. There are blind people everywhere, and not everyone likes each other. Not everybody knows each other, and that's just because we're people. Just because you share something doesn't mean that you're going to get along with every single person that shares that same limitation. But by the same token, blindness puts a lot of blind people on a level playing field, in the sense that you have a community of brothers and sisters who know what you're going through. They know what you're going through on a level nobody else can understand. They might not know the exacts, because there are ranges of blindness. Some are total, some have quite a lot of vision, but most of us will go through a lot of the same challenges, or face the same things, and face the same fears, challenges, obstacles. And we can support each other in ways nobody else can support us, because we've been there, we've lived it. We can give them advice, we can give them comfort, we can just say, hey, I've been there, it sucks, I get it. And while other people with other limitations are discriminated against, it's just not the same. I wouldn't presume to know what somebody who is discriminated against because of hearing loss goes through. I wouldn't presume to know what being discriminated against due to being in a wheelchair or having cerebral palsy does to somebody. because I don't know. I don't live that life. This blindness is the life I lead. And I have so many brothers and sisters who lead that same life and face those same challenges. And there is that tight-knit community. And it's incredible. I mean, when you get a bunch of blind people together, it's a lot of fun. There's just some basic connection between us all right from the start. So while you still have to get to know people like you would get to know anybody else, there is that common denominator. And it's comforting. It's nice to know that I can reach out my hand and somebody can take it and just hold it and say, it's okay. I've been there. It gets better. That matters. 5, the world has so much more depth. Now, I understand how some people could listen to me say that and be like, well, you can't see, so where's the depth coming from? The depth comes from the fact that I can't see. I can listen. I'm closing my eyes right now. I can listen. I can hear the world. I can smell the world. Have you ever stood by the woods in spring? I haven't been near a forest in spring in quite some time. But if you close your eyes, just take away the visual component. You can hear the birds in the trees, the wind rustling through the boughs, the leaves crunching under people's feet. You know, the sound of the footsteps. If you're in a place like Muir Wood, people walking across, down the paths, speaking to each other. In the distance, you might hear a car, on one side. In another distance, you might hear an animal trying to run, from tree to tree, a squirrel. Just, I don't know. I think there's so much depth to a world without vision, without sight in it. Yes, you can't see colors, and I'm sure that many images have a lot of depth to them, but you still have to experience the world with every part of you when you can't see. Touch, scent, hearing. I was gonna say taste, but most blind people don't go around licking things. It tends to be socially inappropriate. But I think the world has a lot of depth without being able to see it, because I feel that a lot of sighted people let their eyes get in the way. They'll look at something and say, that's an incredible picture, or that's an incredible view. They won't hear the nuances, the subtle nuances of it. They won't hear that squirrel scampering overhead, unless the squirrel's chittering at them, because squirrels have this tendency to want to be known, but that's beside the point. They might not listen to the wind in the trees in the same way. Like, it's a sigh. They might not hear the rustling. They might not realize that the wind has a rhythm to it. When it's blowing and the trees start swaying, if you listen long enough, you can usually tell when it's going to happen, or how, I don't want to say how it happens, but we had a house in the Pocono Mountains when I was a child, and I would sit outside a lot on the swing and listen just for hours to the wind in the trees, and there was always a rhythm to it. The trees would sigh and then they'd go quiet, and the wind would come back. I mean, even now, that breeze right there. Coming from the left, blowing across the way, tousling the trees as it goes, with the cars in the background, which you guys can hear. It's not really the background because my porch is kind of close to the road. But that's what I mean. That's a depth. That matters. You can listen and experience the world on a level so far beyond a superficial glimpse. 6, blind people are in the unique position to educate others. This is incredible. Yes, blindness gives us challenges, like I have said in this video previously, but it also provides us with an incredible opportunity to educate others about what living with a disability is really like. My first speaking engagement, if you can call it that, because it is very small, but for me, that doesn't matter. Because speaking to one person about blindness or speaking to 3,000 people about blindness, you can still educate. But I'm going to be speaking to my daughter's class in October, toward the end of October, and not sure if I'll be able to video it because it is a school, so there probably are privacy concerns. I will see what they say, but I'm super excited about it because I get to educate some young minds about blindness. I would not be able to do that if I wasn't blind myself. I wouldn't be here creating these YouTube videos and talking to you beautiful treasures if I did not have this limitation. I'm being put in a position where I can educate others, and I think everybody that has something unique about themselves that can teach the world should do that, because it's so important, and so many people don't do it. They don't think people want to hear, and some people don't, but for every one person that doesn't want to listen, there are 100 people who could learn something from what we have to say and are grateful to learn something from what we have to say. And I love that. I love being in the position I am, and I can take all the challenges that I face and turn them into a learning experience for others, because a lot of those challenges are merely based on ignorance. People don't intend to be insulting. They don't intend to be judgmental or to discriminate. They just don't understand. It's my job. I'm in a position to help them understand, and I love that. I think that is a huge positive. 7, I can read in the dark. Yes, I read Braille, so I can read in a pitch black room. I remember when I was a child, and this memory just stands out to me because it was just the first time it happened and it was funny. I started reading Braille, learning Braille when I was about 7 years old, and this was when I was in middle school, I think. Maybe a little younger, maybe 5th or 6th grade. My dad came into the living room where I'm sitting in the just pitch blackness because the lights in the kitchen and stuff, they weren't on, and I was reading a book. I can't remember which one, but I was reading a book, and he turns on the light, and he starts not yelling at me, but he starts scolding me. He's like, "Sirena, what have I told you about reading in the dark? It's so bad for your eyes. You can't do that." And I'm just like, "Dad?" And I just kind of held up the Braille book. There's just this awkward pause, and my dad just goes, "Oh," and he starts laughing, and I just started laughing as well. Oh man, it's one of the most, it's a simple memory, but it's so much fun. I miss my dad so much. Yeah, it's been 19 years. It was 19 years since his passing on the 6th of August. So it's really nice to think about those positive memories, and they still make me smile and they still make me laugh. And that was the first time I realized, hey, this Braille thing, it's got perks, because as a blind Braille reader in school, I was just really self-conscious about it, and I just wanted to be like everybody else, and I was like, oh, what's the point? This is just so not fair. But Braille is awesome. You can read in the dark, and if you teach people Braille, you've got your own secret code. You can write secret messages. It's awesome. Braille rocks. If you don't know Braille, I wish you would learn, because it's useful, and not a lot of people like to read books in Braille. I personally do. I heard somebody say in a video that Braille was not made for leisure reading, but I think that really depends on who you are. I love audiobooks, but sometimes I just want to sit with a Braille book. I enjoy the act of, turning pages and stuff. I love reading Braille, and I love that I can just read it in the dark, or lie on my back and just hold it against my lap and read it. I could sit like this. I am leaning back in my chair, for those of you who can't see, with my eyes closed and my hands on my knees. And if I had a Braille book on my lap, I could just read here. Just rocking in my rocking chair with my eyes closed, relaxing with a story. No headaches, no eye strain, nothing. None of that. It's awesome. Braille rocks. 8, I can navigate perfectly well without light. That is right. When you have a blackout and you're with a blind person, you are going to be following them around, because they're going to be the ones that know what they're doing. If you are in a blackout and you don't have candles, or you don't have flashlights, or you need to put batteries in a flashlight, yeah, we've got you. We've got you covered. We can do all of that without sight. We can move around without sight. We can cook a meal without sight. Obviously, if it's a blackout, you probably don't have access to electricity, so electric stoves are out, but you get the gist. You know, if you need to put batteries in a flashlight, most people don't realize that there's the pin on the battery. That's how you tell which is up, which is down, and how to put it in. It's awesome. It's really fun to be in a blackout with sighted people because they're just like, ah! Freaking out, and you know, all the blind people are just like, welcome to my world. It's fun. It's awesome. It's amusing. It's great. 9, there is so much room for humor. If you can't laugh at yourself, learn how. Because I laugh at myself all the time. I'll bounce off walls. I'll just take it as it goes. I make more blind jokes than anyone else. You know, sighted people, they're always, you know, even my friends sometimes, or, you know, new friends, they're just like, they'll make a blind joke out of the blue, and then they'll get really, really, like, worried. Like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, like, did I just offend you? I'm like, are you kidding me? I make more blind jokes than all of you combined. I love being able to laugh at myself. I love being able to do something totally blind. Just have a blind girl moment, like bump into an inanimate object and stop to apologize to it because you don't know it's not a person. Yes, this happens. I do this all the time. I can bump into an upholstered sofa or something, and because I've just brushed up against fabric, I think, oh wow, that must have been somebody's arm or a jacket or jeans or something. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? They don't answer me. I'm like, okay. My daughter's like, Mommy, that's a couch. I'm just like, oh well. Hey, I'd rather be silly and look goofy rather than look rude. So it works. But you know, I'm sure people have seen me do that and have wanted to laugh or been laughing or staring at me like I'm nuts, but it's hilarious. It's funny. Feel free to laugh at me, laugh with me, because I'll be laughing too. Like, oh, okay, well, at least the couch, you know, its feelings aren't hurt. So blind girl moments, you know, it's just awesome. Just humor. Laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Sure, there are situations where you have to take yourself seriously. Not all of them. Learn to laugh at the mistakes you make due to this limitation. It's worth it. It's fun. Keeps you young, keeps you happy, gives you really, really good storytime video ideas. I have to start a storytime channel, or at least playlist. But yes, being blind, so much room for humor. Really, really is. Seriously, hang out with a bunch of blind people. You'll see, we crack blind jokes all the time. Now, there is a difference between joking with a blind person and mocking them. I'll joke with my friends and, you know, they'll be hugging each other and someone will be like, stop squeezing me so tightly, you're killing me. And, you know, my friend will look over and he'll be like, Sirena, you won't tell anyone if I kill them, right? And I'm just like, nah, I didn't see a thing. What are you talking about? You know, that's funny. If I'm looking for something on a table and you're like moving it out of my way, if I get close to reaching it and you just keep pulling it out of my way, or if I put something down and you keep moving it to a different area of a room while I'm trying to find it, that's not funny. That's mocking, and that is rude, and that's wrong. It's rude. It's just, I just said that. I'm sorry. It's just not right. So there are lines, and not everybody is into blind jokes. I will admit that too. Again, blind people are still people. Not everybody's a kidder. So feel the people out that you're with. Most of us don't mind a good blind joke. Not all the time, but, you know, have humor. Laugh at yourself. Laugh with your blind friends. It's okay. We laugh too. We like to laugh. 10. Being blind allows me to have greater empathy for those who are different. For those with other disabilities. Be it a physical disability, an invisible disability, blindness, deafness, people with cerebral palsy, or I'm so sorry. I am sitting here scratching my arm because I'm outside and I don't have a screened-in porch. So I'm getting kind of eaten to death by mosquitoes. But, you know, that's okay. Everything for the love of YouTube, guys, right? But, you know, paraplegic, quadriplegics. I can't talk. I'm sorry if I just completely mangled those words. I'm just making myself look stupid here, okay? Now, everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, what disability, what limitation that you are facing. Being blind gives me an automatic empathy for people that are different. So many people look at different people and don't want to have anything to do with them. They don't want to get anywhere near them. They don't understand. And I might not understand what a selective mute is going through or what somebody with autism is going through. And just FYI, I don't know if autism or selective mutism are considered disabilities, but I'm just saying limitations, because they do limit you in certain situations. These are just examples. I can't say I know exactly what you're going through, but I have greater empathy for the fact that you have to go through life facing something difficult, that you've got to work and you've got to grow, and people don't understand who you are beneath those limitations, because so often that's all they can see. People don't have the ability so much of the time to look beyond that superficial and to find the beauty beneath, but it's there. And I am humbled that I have this limitation that I have, because it allows me to see the beauty in so many people. One of the most incredible people I've ever met was I want to say he was the CEO of the Commission for the Blind back in New York when I was a teenager. I want to say his name was Bill. I could be getting this all wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And he had cerebral palsy, and he was difficult to understand, and his hands shook. And he was the most incredible person ever. He was so kind and so compassionate, and he had so many amazing things to say and so much encouragement to give. And I wish I'd known him better, and I wish I'd been able to be an intern at that office for longer and get to know him more as a person. I kind of wish I had been older when I met him, so that I wasn't just this teenager, and I could have asked him the questions that I would love to go back to that year and ask him. He is an incredible man, and if he ever sees this video, I adore you still, and I think of you, and you are incredible, and you made such an impression on me as a teenager. I hope your life is beautiful, because you have just impacted mine in an absolutely unbelievable way. And I want to be that to other people. I want people to look at me and have that empathy. And I can look at others and have that empathy. It doesn't bother me if they're a little different, because that doesn't matter. What is beneath all that, that's what matters. And that is another incredible pro of being blind. You just have more empathy. Being blind, having a disability. Now, when I say you just have more empathy, here I am scratching my mosquito bites again. It's a blanket statement, but it's not, because I know that not everybody has empathy. You know, people are still people beneath their limitations. This is exactly what I'm getting at. So not everyone's the same, and not everyone views the world the same or views emotions the same. But for the most part, people who have a limitation are more apt to be empathetic to others with other limitations. It's just, you live that life and you understand it on a level people without limitations can't truly comprehend. So that is it for this video, my treasures. Thank you so much for watching, and I am so happy to be back with you guys. The school year is starting, and so are my videos again, because I've got everything working again, and it's cool. And I didn't mention this at first, at the beginning of my video, but I'm wearing the most awesome shirt. And for those of you who can't read it or see it, I was told it says, what is it? The worst thing for a Braille reader to read, or do not touch, or the worst thing to read in Braille, do not touch. Oops. Which is just awesome. It says something like that. I don't know if I got the words exactly right, but you know, it's awesome. So this shirt rocks. And I will be back with more videos soon. I have so many ideas, and I cannot wait to bring them all to you. I've missed you guys so much, and again, I'm so happy to be back. Please hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell if you want to see more content from me, and I will be back next week. Bye, guys.